Not many teens are bold enough to travel cross-country on a whim. But 18-year-old Monique Wheeler is different.
Monique was outgoing, loved being the center of attention.
For Monique, every day has to be a new adventure. In 1999, it's a romantic rendezvous she arranges online.
You're really here? Of course.
She went from the East Coast to the West Coast to be with a woman that she'd only known for a couple of weeks. Very impulsive, very high risk.
Monique had plenty of boyfriends. Now she wants something different.
You know, I've never been with a girl before. Serious?
Monique wasn't sure what she wanted in a relationship or in a person. She thought she might be bisexual.
My little lesbian virgin.
Although she'd never had a lesbian affair.
Within months, she wants more. She wants a wedding.
They had a commitment ceremony in California. Monique dressed as the bride.
You may kiss your bride.
But just months after tying the knot, Monique is already looking for new excitement.
Hardly champagne, but congratulations.
And finds it in Paul Berkeley.
Paul was your all-American guy. He was a soldier. He was a man's man.
Paul, where's your bathroom?
Just down the hall.
Just as quickly as Monique walked down the aisle, she walks into Paul's arms.
Monique ended up going back to Paul's and having a relationship with him.
Is this what you like?
Oh, yeah.
She was a young woman who made very impulsive decisions, especially when it came to her love life.
Soon, she wants to swap her wife for a husband.
What about your wife?
I guess I'll just have to tell her that I met someone else.
Monique had a very romanticized idea of relationships that was very childish.
For Monique, a relationship isn't good enough. It has to be marriage.
Okay.
She marries Paul, and they move to Raleigh, North Carolina, where he has a ready-made family.
Paul, he'd been married and he had 2 teenage children.
Pancakes are ready.
He introduced her,
Peggy.
and they liked her. They thought she was a stable influence on their father.
These are really good, Monique.
For 4 years, Monique is happy to play the part of devoted wife and mother. But in 2005, duty calls.
I understand. Well, that is what I signed up for. Oh. I'm off to the Middle East.
No, you can't.
He was a naval reservist, so when he was called to the Middle East, he had a tour of duty over there, and he had to leave his family behind.
What am I meant to do without you?
She didn't handle it well. She was very upset.
But not for long. At 26, Monique has a lot in common with her stepchildren and their friends.
She started to hang out with her stepchildren's friends. A lot of them were 8 years younger than she was.
Ready? Okay.
Monique not only wanted to hang out with her stepchildren and their teenage friends. She wanted to be a teenager with them.
And she wants a new thrill. A teenage romance. "18-year-old Andrew Canty can't believe his luck.
Monique was an adult, age-wise. Monique was really probably no more mature than Andrew.
In typical Monique style, she goes all out and moves Andrew into the family home. But the party doesn't last long.
I'm home for Christmas.
That's amazing. How long for?
So in December, Paul tells Monique he is getting a 2-week leave and he's coming home. And so all of a sudden, Monique has a big problem.
Hey, we're gonna miss the movie.
Shh, not now.
Who's that?
Just one of the kids' friends.
She has to get Andrew Canty out of the house.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You okay?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Again, Monique has to choose between the new and the old. And that means one thing.
So Monique starts doing online research
I found it.
about the life insurance policy that Paul has taken out. She is the beneficiary, and she discovers it's worth $400,000.
It's a lot of money.
Enough money for a new life.
The lady wanted money.
December 18th, 2005. Navy reservist Paul Berkeley arrives home from the Middle East.
Welcome home.
He's eager to get reacquainted with his young wife, Monique.
You have to wait. I have a romantic evening planned for us.
She promises her husband a romantic interlude. She says, let's go to dinner, let's go see a movie, and then we'll go to the park together, just me and you.
What are you up to?
You'll have to wait and see. Now go get ready. Go get ready.
So she packs a picnic basket, and in it, she's got wine, candles, blankets, strawberries, and condoms.
It's an odd date. A moonlight picnic in the middle of winter.
Paul apparently wanted to be with Monique under any circumstances because the situation she created was not exactly desirable. But he went.
Paul was shot point blank in the back of the head with a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol. This was a surprise attack. It was an ambush.
Monique turns her young lover, Andrew Canty, into an assassin.
Okay, I'm ready.
They wanted to make it look like that Monique was also a victim.
Do it!
So Andrew shoots her one time at point blank range in her shoulder.
Go! Just go!
Monique was very confident in everything she decided to do, and that included having herself shot.
Monique calls 911 while her husband clings to life.
Hello?
He was unconscious. The blood was draining into the back of his throat.
I've just been shot, and my husband...
Listening to Monique on the 911 tape tells you the panic in her voice was real. She hadn't anticipated it was going to be this difficult to listen to somebody die.
Okay. Go on.
It's very easy to plan a murder. It's very hard to carry one out.
No. No.
The doctors can't save Paul. The family gathers to say their final farewells. Monique plays the weeping widow, believing her plan has worked perfectly.
Here, she has basically orchestrated her husband's murder, and now she's at his deathbed, holding his hand, while his son is holding the other hand.
It seems Monique has got the money and her boyfriend. There's just one problem. The crime makes no sense.
There's something here that doesn't add up. It doesn't appear to be a random crime, and the most important thing is, what married couple is going to go to a park in the middle of the night when it's cold, dark, and wet?
That is an inconsistency in a story. That part makes you sit up and take notice. Somebody wasn't telling the truth.
Anyone know you were going to the park?
The police have a lot of questions for Monique.
It all happened so fast.
Unfortunately for her, she's been heavily medicated, and that will be her downfall.
Pain medication and sedatives are not truth serum, but they can lower one's inhibitions and anxiety to a point where they feel freer to speak.
Despite all her planning, in her drug-induced haze, Monique confesses everything.
Andrew Canty.
She even rats out her young lover. In 2007, Andrew Canty pleads guilty to first-degree murder and is sentenced to life. Monique Berkeley is also convicted and will spend her life behind bars.
This was a cold-blooded killing. She deserves to be in prison.
Monique's desire for new thrills left a trail of heartbreak and destruction and took the life of a loving man who served his country.
Paul Berkeley survived his deployment in the Middle East without any injury, but he couldn't survive 1 week with his wife, Monique.
England, 2011. It's not uncommon for teens in South London to grow up fast. 15-year-old Rebecca Douglas likes life on the street.
She was mixing with local street gangs in the areas of Lambeth and Wandsworth.
A constant companion
Whoa, which way you going, girl?
is 16-year-old Julie Sheriff.
Guess what I got?
She's had a tough upbringing in war-torn Africa.
Julie was a victim of the war in Sierra Leone. She was living in a refugee camp.
Julie's family hope England will give them a better life.
She would be able to have a safe upbringing, an education, and go on to gain a good job in London.
Did you nip it?
But she's becoming a wayward teenager.
Julie was known to police for acts of dishonesty, such as shoplifting.
Looks good on me.
and she fell in with the wrong crowd.
Rebecca's upbringing is also troubled.
Rebecca definitely had a violent, traumatic background. She didn't get on very well with her mother and was regularly reported missing from home.
Why won't you talk to her?
I ain't got nothing to say to her.
She was living on other people's couches in their living rooms.
Mum says you can stay for tonight, but that's it.
That is a very difficult life for a young person.
Like Nancy.
She developed a persona of being very tough. Nobody could push her around.
The two girls have a lot in common.
I'm not sure that you can do that handshake anymore.
But now the law on the street threatens their friendship
She's off to Hackney.
because they live in different suburbs.
North side, east side, south side, west side. Different postcodes, different gangs.
In London, many of these gangs are actually based on a postcode, the area in which you live.
All I'm saying.
Once childhood friends,
Whatever.
now they find themselves divided by their zip codes.
And it appears that they may actually have become rivals because they ended up in separate gangs.
There was heavy territorial influence in this relationship, and they were not meant to be friends.
And Rebecca is ready to pick her gang over her old friend.
Teenagers have strong needs to be a member of a group, to be accepted. Because of their group affiliations, the boundaries were drawn.
A feud starts when Rebecca's sex life is all over social media.
Have you seen the messages? Who's sending them?
Lots of people. I think Julie started it.
These rumors had been spread about Rebecca, that she was being promiscuous with boys.
She's gonna get it.
Rebecca is certain she knows who is posting the gossip.
Their hostility to each other seems very trivial.
Because of social media, those messages and distorted facts can spread even faster.
For a teenager in a gang, reputation is everything.
Being part of a gang culture meant that she felt she had to act.
Rebecca didn't have anything except her friends and her reputation. She knew her friends would be there. Her reputation was up for grabs.
This former friend
What do you want? Oh, you could spread rumors about me, did ya?
is about to become a deadly enemy.
Why did you do it?
You don't grab a weapon unless you mean business.
You lied to me!
South London in early 2011. A teenage feud is escalating.
Have you seen the messages?
Rebecca Douglas believes her former friend, 16-year-old Julie Sheriff,
Oh, you could spread rumors about me, did ya?
is dissing her on social media.
I didn't do it! Don't lie to me!
Rebecca was known to both police and social services for being involved in violent offences.
Rebecca's a hoe, huh? Sits with a different guy every night.
I swear I didn't say that! Don't lie to me!
The online war turns physical.
Julie's father told police he walked into the room and there was virtually a mass fight going on. He describes pulling and slapping.
You okay? What? Oh my God.
But Rebecca isn't finished. She wants to make Julie's life miserable.
They came back to the house and were throwing stones at the window, clearly intent on provoking or threatening Julie.
I have called the police, eh?
They were absolutely furious and they wanted to get at her.
Everything's gonna be okay.
It was personal between Julie and Rebecca.
Rebecca's constant bullying takes a toll on Julie. She becomes trapped by fear.
They had really scared Julie, and for a period of time, she was too scared to go out of the house or travel far from home.
Teenagers like to be out and about. Everybody knows grounding a teenager is a form of punishment. Julie had self-imposed grounding. She was afraid to leave.
But Julie can't hide forever. On May 7th, 2011, she ventures out. But she's spotted by her tormentor, Rebecca.
Julie and her friend were just walking along the pavement when Rebecca saw them.
Rebecca challenged Julie by saying, "What are you doing in Clapham?"
What are you doing in Clapham? I think you know where I lie.
The argument broke out almost immediately.
Who the hell do you think you are spreading rumors about me?
Rebecca was insulted and threatened that Julie was in her neighborhood.
Look, I didn't spread anything, all right? Yes, so who did? I don't know. Ask one of your boyfriends.
A witness says that she went into her handbag and took out the comb with this long steel spike on the end of it. She first of all stabbed her in the collarbone. That didn't inflict much damage, and so she had another go.
I'm stabbing you! I'm stabbing you! I'm stabbing you!
Rebecca plunged the tail of the comb deep into Julie's brain.
Rebecca didn't need to carry a knife. She had a comb that had a sharp steel handle. That's as good as a knife.
Rebecca must have been aware of what she had done because Julie collapsed pretty quickly after she had attacked her.
I have a headache.
The bleeding in the brain caused increased pressure, and that caused a headache. It also caused almost immediate loss of consciousness.
Rebecca just nonchalantly walked away from the scene.
As Rebecca calmly leaves, bystanders call the paramedics, and Julie is rushed to the hospital.
The scans quickly revealed that she'd suffered a brain injury and she was operated on.
As surgeons race to save Julie, her attacker hits social media.
She left messages for friends in which she said, "I met a girl at the junction and I truly hate her. And so I kind of stabbed her."
Despite the doctor's efforts, Julie is in a deep coma. When Rebecca hears that she's still alive, she makes even more threats.
This girl knows my name yet, so I'm gonna go to the hospital.
There were clear threats on there talking about maybe going to the hospital to attack her again so she couldn't be a witness.
She said, "I'm gonna flippin' suffocate her."
And I'm gonna flippin' suffocate her.
After the attack, Rebecca boasted about it via social networking and said she'd do it again. That was premeditated murder, in my opinion.
But Rebecca won't get the chance to strike again. Security cameras and witnesses quickly identify her. She's arrested and charged with grievous bodily harm. For months, Julie lies in a deep coma. There is nothing the doctors can do to help her.
She couldn't recover. Julie ultimately died 5 months later because her brain was dead.
Julie, no, make me go back home. Julie, make me go home. No.
Her father makes the heartbreaking decision to turn off her life support.
Are you ready?
He brought her to a safe place where he thought that she would thrive and prosper and be safe. But it was in London that she was killed.
Julie's father came to believe if he had never left Sierra Leone with his daughter, she might be alive today.
Rebecca is rearrested. Now she's charged with murder.
Rebecca, as you are aware, Julie passed away in the hospital.
But she remains defiant.
When we rearrested Rebecca for murder, she was very angry.
We're done here, yeah?
She tried to storm out of the interview room.
Sit down, Rebecca.
And she showed no remorse for her actions at that stage.
In 2012, Rebecca Douglas is convicted of murder. She's sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 10 years.
I describe Rebecca Douglas as a troubled and violent young lady who doesn't seem to have any regard for the consequence of her actions.
To Rebecca, reputation and the code of her gang meant more than a life.
Rebecca felt entitled to do what she did. Her reputation was at stake, and Julie was going to pay. Teenage angst, jealousy, rivalry, all contributed to this horrible situation. One life lost and another in prison.
"33-year-old Patricia Rohrer is a cowgirl at heart.
She worked at a stable. She always had horses. She enjoyed taking care of them and then riding them in competitions.
Yeah. You gotta time me as soon as I take off.
Okay, gotcha, hun.
Okay, ready? Go.
Her de facto husband, 30-year-old Andy Katranak, is her biggest fan.
Andy was the quintessential construction guy. He liked working with his hands. He liked building stuff.
In the early 1980s, Patricia is a competitor on the Pennsylvania rodeo circuit, and she likes to win.
So how'd I do?
20 and 50.
What?
She had, I would say, a commanding presence.
That is not even close. Again. Again. Ready? Go.
Patricia was a person who had a reputation for being someone that you didn't want to mess with.
Patricia was not known to be someone who would shy away from an argument or a fight. But Patricia didn't like to use words.
Hey.
She liked to use her fists.
I have told you before, this is mine. Don't touch my stuff. Do these work?
Patricia,
Are you listening? Can you actually...
What's going on?
She was a cowgirl. She could fight like a man and duke it out.
She deserved it.
Along with her temper, there's sadness.
What's wrong?
Patricia was married at about age 18, and she did have a baby boy who died apparently of natural causes at 3.5 months old.
She's desperate to have a baby with Andy.
When Patricia Rohrer was living with him, she couldn't get pregnant. And I think that upset her.
It's gotta be you.
That's not fair.
I've already had a baby.
Come to bed.
There's no point. Not with you, anyway.
After 5 years of failing to get pregnant, she gives up on Andy. It doesn't take Patricia long to rope in a new man. At first, she's a bundle of fun, but her dark side is never far away.
He told us that they had gotten into this argument.
Come on.
Then why aren't you dating a blonde?
Whoa, relax. It's a joke.
A joke? I don't think so. Men always mean what they say, all right? I know exactly what you mean.
Don't you touch me, all right?
How dare you?
It became so heated that she actually pulled the gun out and pointed it at him and threatened to kill him.
Don't think I won't kill you. No man shoves me. No man!
Patricia wanted to make a point, and she did it with a gun in her hand.
Meanwhile, in Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, Andy finds lasting love.
It's so good.
In 1992, he weds 26-year-old Joanne.
My feet get so sore.
A dream catch.
Joanne was a lot of fun. She was bubbly. She was the kind of girl everybody wanted to be with.
Everyone said she was kind, happy, and just lit up a room when she walked into it.
You can thank this little guy for that.
When Andy discovers he's going to be a dad, his joy is complete. Until he gets a blast from the past.
Hey, Andy. It's Patricia.
Sorry, who is this?
What, have you forgotten me already?
It's been 5 long years since Patricia walked out on him.
How you doing?
For Andy, a lifetime ago.
I think she was still hoping that there could be a relationship between him and her.
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?
Never better. I'm married with a baby on the way.
Oh, wow. It's great news.
Speaking for Andy, that's not what he wanted.
Nice to talk to you, but I've got to go.
For Patricia, now a bleached blonde, living far away in North Carolina, it's a stinging blow.
Patricia was holding out hope that she and Andy would get back together again. But being married with a baby on the way made that impossible.
But Patricia's not the type of woman to take no for an answer.
You can't tell me what to do. I just did.
In Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, Andy and Joanne Katranak have a new arrival. Baby boy Alex. But Andy's ex, Patricia Rohrer, is consumed by jealousy.
To put it mildly, Patricia could not let Andy go. She knew he was married and had a new baby.
But that doesn't stop her from trying to lure him back.
Hello? Oh, hey, it's Patricia. Can I speak to Andy? It's that Patricia.
Joanne was not only upset but angry that Patricia Rohrer called again and obviously wanted to continue the relationship.
Andy doesn't want to talk to you.
And she told her in no uncertain terms that she was not to call back.
We don't want you calling here again.
You can't tell me what to do.
I just did.
And hung up on her.
That was a slap in the face to Patricia. It was bad enough that Andy didn't want to talk to her, but that his wife told her, unbearable.
Even worse, the couple has what Patricia's always wanted.
Andrew and Joanne had a child. I think that was what upset her the most.
Patricia was a powder keg. When Joanne said don't call her anymore, that lit the fuse.
On December 15th, 1994, Patricia drives across the country to Andy's house. But he's not the one she's stalking.
Hey, Mom, it's me.
While she's inside, she overhears Joanne talking to her mother-in-law, making plans to go out shopping.
I'll pick you up in about half an hour or so. Okay, bye.
She cut the phone line and then decided to wait for Joanne and the baby out in the alley beside the house.
Put baby in the car and get in the driver's seat. Don't look. Go. Enough. Come on.
Her plan is to hurt Andy through those he loves the most.
Driver's seat now.
They head for a lonely field, 15 miles from town.
Why are you doing this? Move. Keep walking. Please don't hurt my baby. Shut up. Stop there. Turn around.
It's hard to imagine what it was like for Joanne.
Please don't hurt my baby.
She must have known something horrible was about to happen,
On your knees.
but there was nothing she could do. She was paralyzed with fear.
I'm certain that at some point, Joanne probably pleaded for her life and the life of her child. She points the gun at Joanne's head and fires, hitting Joanne in the face. The shot did not kill.
Patricia delivers her death sentence. 19 savage blows with the butt of the gun.
Hitting someone 19 times in the face after they've been shot is punishment. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
She doesn't spare baby Alex.
Investigators couldn't figure out exactly how the baby died. It was either that the baby was suffocated or left to just die of exposure.
By killing him, she was sending Andy a message. You will have pain and suffering the rest of your life. Don't forget who did it to you.
Ready?
At 6 p.m., Andy comes home to a cold and empty house.
Joanne! Joanne!
He noticed that the basement door had been broken into. He also noticed that the phone lines had been cut.
He was very concerned that something terrible had happened to them.
Andy reports them missing to police. But their disappearance is a mystery. Until 4 months later, the bodies are discovered.
Patricia chose an area she was familiar with, where she rode her horses, as a place for the murder.
It's the first clue, and the crime scene quickly gives up another.
The officers find a number of hairs, and they are put into evidence.
But the hairs are blonde, and Patricia's known as a brunette.
We're mystified at the fact that she's got brown hair and we have blonde hair.
It's 2.5 years before police get the breakthrough they need. A photo taken around the time of the murders.
In that picture, she had blonde hair. It was dyed dirty blonde. And so that was what made them think, aha, we've got her.
Patricia thinks she's got away with murder. By now, she finally has a child of her own. But not for much longer.
Ma'am, are you Patricia Rohrer?
How can I help you, officers?
We're here to arrest you for the murder of Joanne and Alex Gatrine.
In 1998, Patricia Rohrer is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Patricia's daughter faces a life without a mother. Andy faces his without his wife and son.
It wouldn't surprise me to know that every night before she goes to sleep in her prison cell, Patricia's smiling because of the pain she caused Andy. Patricia's a stone-cold psychopath.